We grow up hearing it everywhere, on motivational posters, in locker room speeches, and from self-help gurus. Just find the motivation. It's the invisible fuel, we're told, that powers achievement, grit, and lasting success. If you want to win, to build something meaningful, to outlast the odds, motivation is the engine. That's the prevailing narrative. But what if I told you it's not just incomplete, but deeply misleading? What if motivation isn't the cause, but the effect, a lagging indicator, not the spark? Picture a fuel gauge in a car, needle bobbing at empty, even before you start the engine. Motivation feels like that gauge. We stare at it, hoping it will rise on its own, but the truth is it doesn't budge until the wheels are already turning. In reality, progress, feedback, and environment move the dial. Motivation follows, not leads. Why do people cling so fiercely to the never quit and just find motivation mantras? Let's pause and consider. These ideas offer comfort, a sense of control in chaotic times. They tell us that if we just push harder, if we refuse to quit, we'll eventually break through. And sometimes they carry a grain of truth. Persistence and drive matter. But like any mantra, when unexamined, they become traps. The popular wisdom says, never quit. Winners never quit, and quitters never win. We repeat it because it's simple, memorable, and reassuring. It's the hero's journey in every blockbuster. The star athlete, the determined entrepreneur, the student burning the midnight oil. We love these stories because they promise that effort alone will triumph. But let's turn a critical eye to the evidence. What really drives outcomes? The Bureau of Labor Statistics paints a sobering picture. About 20% of new businesses fail within their first year. By year 5, the number jumps to roughly 50%. And after a decade, about 65% have closed their doors. Now, let's zoom in. 1.9 million restaurant startups, studied across decades, reveal a median lifespan of just 4.5 years. These aren't failures of motivation. Many founders pour their hearts in, sacrificing sleep, savings, and weekends. The truth is, external factors, market shifts, competition, timing, play a far greater role than internal drive. Or consider the world of learning. A meta-analysis spanning 52 studies in online and blended environments found a surprisingly weak correlation, just 0.19, between motivation and performance. That's barely above noise. Students who succeed aren't necessarily the most motivated, but the ones who find early wins, supportive environments, and practical feedback. And let's not ignore the costs of relentless persistence. A massive study, 36,150 participants across 62 separate investigations, looked at people who quit smoking. The results? Those who successfully quit experienced significant reductions in anxiety and depression. Sometimes quitting isn't weakness. It's a strategic pivot, a reclaiming of health and well-being. The never quit mantra, stress-tested, can backfire. It can trap people in toxic jobs, doomed ventures, and unhealthy habits. So, what's the nuance? Motivation, it turns out, often follows small wins. A runner gaining speed only after crossing checkpoints. A wilting plant revived after watering. It's not the starting gun. It's the echo. When we see progress, feel supported, or notice our environment changing, motivation blooms. Persistence works best when early signals are positive, when costs are manageable, when our values and well-being align with the goal. But in stagnant, misaligned, or harmful contexts, doubling down is a recipe for burnout and regret. Let's challenge the myth head-on. Survival curves don't lie. Most businesses, projects, and even personal goals encounter rough terrain. The winners aren't just the most motivated, they're the most adaptive. They know when to pivot, when to pause, when to quit and reinvest elsewhere. Quitting is not the villain. It's often the hero's secret weapon. It preserves resources, opens new doors, and protects mental health. Think of the entrepreneur who closes a failing cafe to launch a successful tech startup. The student who drops a major to find true passion in another field. The professional who leaves a toxic workplace and flourishes elsewhere. These are not stories of defeat. They're stories of strategic quitting, of smart pivots, of resilience redefined. So how do you decide when to persist and when to pivot? Let's end with a practical, inspiring checklist, forged from real evidence and lived experience. First, gather early indicators of progress. Are you seeing small wins, feedback, or movement toward your goal? Or are you stuck in a rut, spinning your wheels? Second, weigh costs versus opportunity costs. Every hour, every dollar, every ounce of energy is a trade-off. Ask yourself, what am I giving up by staying the course? What could I gain by exploring alternatives? Third, check alignment with your values and well-being. Does this pursuit nourish you or erode your health, relationships, and sense of purpose? Persistence is only noble when it serves your deeper values, not just external expectations. Fourth, consider pivots before total quitting. Sometimes a small shift, a different approach, a new environment, a fresh perspective revives progress and motivation. Don't confuse flexibility with failure. Fifth, set decision deadlines with measurable criteria. Give yourself permission to reassess at regular intervals based on clear markers. Am I closer to my goal? Is the cost sustainable? Is my motivation rising with progress or fading in stagnation? These steps aren't just theory. They're the difference between sustainable success and burnout. The truth is, motivation is not the cause. It's the lagging indicator, the flower that blooms after the seeds of progress and support take root. So, next time you hear, never quit, or just find motivation, pause. Ask yourself, am I chasing a mirage, or tending to the soil where motivation grows? The most successful people aren't those who persist blindly. They're those who know when to adapt, when to pivot, and when to let go. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the next piece of life advice you want dissected, torn apart, examined, and rebuilt with evidence and insight? Drop your ideas in the comments below. Like this video if you found it thought-provoking, and subscribe to Beyond the Quote so you never miss another contrarian take that leaves you wiser, not just inspired. This is Podcast signing off, reminding you that the path to success isn't paved with endless motivation, but with smart decisions, timely pivots, and the courage to quit when it matters most. Keep questioning, keep learning, and see you in the next episode.